All right, so we're going to be starting our 1-point perspective impossible room. First thing we have to do is find a point in the center. This paper happens to be 8.5 inches long. Half of that is 4.25. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Not quite 4.5, 4.25. And I'm just going to draw a line. Going to turn my ruler. Again, go to 4.25. And if I didn't get my lines quite perfect, if I crisscross these, right in the middle of that cross is going to be our back line. Okay, so this is dead center now. Now I'm going to draw a line from corner to corner, going through the center. We're going to call this the vanishing point, so I'm going to label it VP. Okay, so I'm going to draw that line, rotate my paper corner to corner through the center vanishing point, and I'm going to draw that line. Now that I have this done, I want to create my back wall. My back wall should measure roughly 2.5 inches. So I'm going to line it up. So I've got 0 inches here, 2.5 here. I need to make sure that I'm squared up parallel to the edge of the paper, and I draw my line. Then I rotate my paper. 2.5 inches, squared up to the back, draw my line. Rotate my paper, making sure everything's squared to the bottom. Now, if you can look on here, corners that line up perfectly are good to go. So I can erase out that center line. This one, however, does not line up. You guys see that? So I need to redraw this whole line, so I'm going to go ahead and erase that. This one's good. And this one's good. To realign that, I'm going to go from my vanishing point to the corner of my back wall. So I'm looking from here to here, and I'm going to finish drawing that line. Perfect. Now that I have my back wall set up and ready to go, I'm going to start building some furniture. First thing I'm going to start with is a dresser. I'm going to place my ruler about 1 inch over, and I'm just going to trace around it. Now again, we want these lines to be parallel here and parallel here. And then I'm just going to finish off the bottom. We don't want to be able to see our wall through our dresser, so I'm also going to come back in and kind of lightly erase this. Anytime we have vertical or horizontal lines, they always remain parallel to the square of the paper, but anytime we have diagonals, they're going to go back to our vanishing point. So the 3 corners that I circled are the ones we'll take back. I line up to my vanishing point, my corner of the dresser, and I start to draw. I don't want to take this all the way back to that back wall. Otherwise, it's going to look like my dresser is connected to the wall. But I haven't decided how big I want it yet, so I'm just lightly drawing. Get all 3 corners aligned. And again, we don't want to see through our dresser. Now, this is very important. The back edge of these things have to be parallel. So to do that, I'm going to slide my ruler over. These 2 lines have to be parallel. Do the same thing with the back line. Slide my ruler. And then I'm going to erase out the extra that I don't need. Now, a dresser typically is going to have some drawers. So again, vertical lines stay parallel to each other. Do a little set of smaller ones down here. Then if it's a diagonal, I have to go back to my vanishing point. Getting the top of those dresser drawers. And then again, I erase out the extra. Those lines also go back to the vanishing point. Okay, next up we're going to do our bed. We're going to start our bed out as a rectangle, big rectangle, in the bottom left-hand corner. Don't want to see through it, so we erase out the wall line. Vertical and horizontal lines stay parallel, and then my 3 corners go back to my vanishing point. Okay, so I start here, bring it back, go to my next corner, and my third corner. Okay, remember that back line's got to be parallel, so I take my ruler and I slide it up, draw that line. Take my ruler, I slide it over, draw that down. Okay, there's my bed. Now, most beds are going to have like a cool bed frame, so I might come in on top of that square, or rectangle rather, and make a cool little bed frame here. Again, getting rid of that wall line. And then we would see the same shape on that back wall. Now I probably want to put a comforter on here. So that's going to be another parallel horizontal line. And then a parallel vertical line. Then I can come on here and add some designs for my little bed. Once my bed is done, we're now going to start working on a shelf. My shelf is going to go slightly below the vanishing point. So I'm just going to draw a rectangle. Looks like a little brick. Doesn't have to be perfect. And as we've learned, we take the 3 corners back to the vanishing point. These are going to be really close together, so it's important that you're precise lining up. And then we gotta go with our parallel line. So I get my horizontal line, my vertical line, erase out the extra. So now I've got a nice little shelf on the wall. My shelf on the wall, maybe I'm gonna put something to make it a little more surreal. So maybe I've got a globe that sits down here. And maybe I have some books here, but remember, if it's a diagonal, goes to the vanishing point. Let's get the tops and bottoms of those books. Got some books. Okay, now we're gonna switch over to this side and we're gonna put on, it could be used for a rug, a window, a TV. We're gonna start with our vertical lines. Okay, I like having a nice big TV, so I'm gonna do a pretty big vertical line here. Now, diagonals, as you recall, have to go back to the vanishing point. So I'm gonna pick up my lines from the vanishing point, draw it in. Now, you'll notice that if it's below the vanishing point, the diagonal line angles up. If it's above the vanishing point, the diagonal line angles down. You don't need to draw those dashed lines, just to show you why we're taking it back. Once I'm here, I can turn this into whatever I want to. Mine's gonna be a volcano erupting, because that's not something I typically see out of my window. Makes it a little more surreal. Boom, now I've got that. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and add in a light fixture. Light fixture is gonna drop straight down. If it's right in front of us, then we draw it just as we see. Remember, anything that faces the front, just as we see. Okay, we're gonna rotate our paper and we're gonna start working on a desk right here. Okay, to start my desk off, I'm just gonna trace around. I want this to be more of a cube. So I might do 1 inch by about 2 inches. Again, all my vertical and parallel lines are parallel. My vertical and horizontal lines are parallel to each other. Okay, I've got these 3 corners going back to the vanishing point. I line it up and draw it. Okay, so I'm fixing those lines as I'm working. Go parallel to my horizontal line. Parallel to my vertical line. Okay, to make this a desk, we have to like cut out a certain part of it so that you can see through it. So I'm just going to draw another square within it, and then I erase out this middle part. So that shows me that we have like the legs of a desk, and then we have the top part of the desk. So I'm just going to shade this in so you can see the difference. So this is the top part of my desk. Now I got to figure out how to make it look like this part's cut out, but it's on a diagonal. So I take that lined up to the edge of the desk, back to my vanishing point. And then all that gets shaded because that's, again, my desk. Got my legs back here. So I've got a table leg and a table leg. And again, I've erased out that interior portion of it. So this is my desk. Okay. If you wanted to do a chair for your desk, you could do something a little rounded. Now remember, when it's rounded and we see it at an angle, it becomes an oval. And now I'd see that little third leg inside there. I'm gonna make it one of those bat wing chairs. Okay, so I've got my desk and my chair. We're gonna rotate again. And we're gonna try some stairs. All right, so for this one, we're gonna go down an inch, over an inch, down an inch, and we'll just do that little small set of stairs. So I wanna finish this part off. Take it all the way down. So I've got a nice little set of stairs here. This would also be how you would do a couch. Obviously it would be a little bit more rounded versus these really sharp lines. Okay, we're erasing out the wall because we don't want to see the wall through our stairs. And for this one, it's nice that this corner piece of my stair lines up to the corner piece of the wall. So we'll just leave that. But then I need to pull back all these other corners to my vanishing point because they are diagonal lines. So I bring that one back, tilt it over, bring this one back. Already got that one. Okay, so I'm going from my top corners now to my vanishing point. And I'm not deciding how long I want my stairs to be yet. I'm still just working on drafting them. Okay, I'm gonna erase out because I don't want to see through my stairs. And now I have to finish off the back edge of the stairs, and that's gonna be all these parallel lines. So the first one is a horizontal line. Then we've got a vertical line, horizontal line, vertical line. It's not quite vertical, there we go. Okay, and then once I erase all this stuff out, you can see my stairs here. This would also be how you would do a couch. Looks like a nice little pull-out sofa. Okay, the last thing we need to look at is the back wall. On the back wall, because it is the back wall, we don't have to pull anything back to the vanishing point. We can just draw it as we see it. So I might put like a door. Maybe this is how you get out of my room. I might have a clock. Okay, that's not very surreal though. So maybe my clock is dripping and there's like magic dust coming out of my little door there. Make it nice and surreal. Okay, there are tons of tutorials online, so just make sure you keep pushing for that 1 point perspective. If it doesn't look right, analyze if these lines are parallel and if your diagonals go back to your vanishing point. When you get finished, you can come in and add a little more flair onto here. I turned this into a little lollipop. Maybe I have Candy Cane Lane going on. All those horizontal lines are just parallel, so I can just draw them. All right, and there's your 1 point perspective practice room. You got it.